You don't have to have any experience to do this project, but by the end of it, you will have built a automatic multi-region failover using origin groups. It may look complex, but essentially what you're doing is you're routing traffic from an origin that's failed to an origin that is available. And you're doing this automatically. This is exactly how companies like Twitch or DAZN operate, and these skills are in demand. This project plus the guide you get completely for free down below, and I'd recommend you follow along as I do it, and you'll get documentation you can share to any platform. For context, this is part 2 of the disaster recovery series. In part 1, we deployed the same Express app to 2 AWS regions using App Runner, one serviced in US East 1 and the other in US West 2. In this project, we're now adding a failover layer using CloudFront, ties them together. All right, enough intro, let's get straight into the project. So step 1, we're gonna gather our App Runner's URLs and create our CloudFront distribution. Now this is going to give us a global entry point. All right, so what does that actually mean? Right now we have 2 App Runner servers running independently. We've got one in US West 2 and we've got one in US East 1. Now if you look at this diagram, we're adding CloudFront as a single global URL, so this one right here, that sits in front of both regions. So users in Japan or users in London, they are going to hit the same CloudFront URL, and then CloudFront uses routing logic to decide which App Runner service to use. When both of the regions are healthy, CloudFront is going to route based on latency. So Japan users go to Oregon because it's closer, or London users go to US East 1. It's lower latency. But when one region fails, like let's say this is completely gone, all the traffic will get routed to this region. And this will be built through the origin group failover, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Netflix uses this exact pattern to route billions of requests across hundreds of origin servers. So let's go log into our AWS console right here. And I'm currently in US East 1. I can then go to the top here. I'm going to type in AWS App Runner. Should pop up like this. You can click into here. And once I click into East right here, you can see that I have my default domain. Everything is up and running from the last project. I'm then going to just duplicate this tab right here. Once I duplicate this, I'm going to change this to US West 2. You might get an error like this, but don't worry, if you go back, it actually works. AWS, you need to sort this out. So here we've got our 2 default domains right here. And I'm actually going to go to the project guide, which is in the link down below. And I'm going to paste in my URLs here because I really like the way that it's set up. So I got my US East URL right here. I'm going to copy that link address, paste it into the project guide. I'm just going to delete the backslash and hit enter, and I will do the exact same for the West one. Into the project guide, backslash gone, and hit enter. Now we have both URLs, so let's go ahead to CloudFront right here. CloudFront. Click into here, and let's go ahead and create a distribution. Now usually pay-as-you-go should be selected automatically. Now remember, this project is free. As long as you delete your resources at the end of this project, you won't get charged anything. But we need to select this one as we need a couple features that we'll use later on. So let's go next. For distribution name, let's call this primary US East -1. Distribution type, we'll just leave this as single website or app, and we'll go ahead and click next. Now over here, we need to specify the origin type. And I thought it'd be easier to see this through a diagram. So let's say a user in Tokyo connects to CloudFront. Now CloudFront has all these edge locations all around the world, London, Sydney, Tokyo, and these are just access points. They don't actually run your code. The edge location in Tokyo needs to get your actual content from somewhere. So it reaches back to what we call your origin. And your origin is where your app actually lives and runs. It then generates the response, and the edge location is basically just a delivery mechanism that is going to get your response to your user faster. So when someone in Tokyo requests from our site, it's going to go user to Tokyo Edge, which then goes to the origin in Virginia or US East 1. And then we get a response back through the Tokyo Edge, and it hits our user. So reminder, CloudFront doesn't actually run our code. It is a delivery network. Your origin runs the code. So for us here, we want to refer to a URL, so we can click other, and we want to get our URL, so we can go back to the project guide here. And if you're following along, it actually conveniently puts it in the place where we're up to in the guide. So we can go ahead and paste our App Runner URL into the origin here and hit enter. This will automatically take away the HTTPS and the slashes, so you don't need to worry about that. And we can go ahead and hit next. For these security options, we can just leave them as they are. We are not configuring a WAF today. Let's hit next, and we will go ahead and create the distribution. Now this is going to take some time. It'll probably take 5 to 10 minutes to deploy, and we want to make sure that this status right here actually goes to enabled. In the meantime, let's actually go ahead and create our US West 2 App Runner service as a second origin. So this is giving us the backup. And the reason we're doing this is because we can't have a failover with just one origin. So as we looked at before, let's say Virginia was down US East 1, then adding a second origin, CloudFront needs to know where to route the traffic when the primary fails. Adding Adding the second origin doesn't change anything yet, but now CloudFront knows about both the regions. In the next step, we'll bundle them together in an origin group, and that is going to enable automatic switching. But for now, let's go back to AWS. I'm going to click on distributions right here. I'm going to go to origins right here. I'm going to create an origin, and let's go back to the project guide here, get our US West 2 App Runner URL, and let's paste it in origin domain and hit enter. Should automatically get rid of the HTTPS and all that. For the name here, let's call this secondary US West 2. Let's leave everything as it is, and let's create the origin. You should see a successfully created origin here, and we have our primary and our secondary here. But as I said before, CloudFront now knows about both regions, but it's still not using a failover yet. It's still going to only route to US East 1. We need to now tell CloudFront that these two origins work together as a failover pair, and this is what origin groups do. And that brings us on to step 3, which is building an origin group. Now the thing is, right now CloudFront has two separate origins. You go primary origin and your secondary origin. Now an origin group ties them together as a failover pair. So you're basically telling CloudFront, try the primary one first, and if it fails, immediately retry the same request against the secondary. And this happens at the edge location level. So there's no DNS changes, no manual intervention, and CloudFront is going to handle all of this automatically. I mean, this is exactly how a company like DAZN streams live sports to around 200 plus countries without viewers actually knowing when a region goes down. The failover happens in seconds while the same request is still in flight. So let's go back to AWS here. We're going to select create origin group. Under choose origins to add to group, we're going to select our primary one first. So that is East 1 for us. I'm going to click add, and then we're going to select our secondary one and click add as well. Make sure that number 1 is primary, so East is primary, and then secondary is 2. We'll call this failover dash group, and in here let's select these failover criteria. So 404 not found, we're going to do 500 internal server error, 502 bad gateway, 503 service available, and 504 gateway timeout. Now one thing you may have noticed is we included 404 errors, and this can be a subtle reason, but it's actually quite important. And if we look at the left hand side here, this is when we haven't included 404. Let's say our primary app runner service is paused. When CloudFront requests the primary origin, it's going to get back a 404 error. In this case, CloudFront is going to check that failover list that we just selected. And since 404 is not there, no failover actually happens. So the user is going to see a 404 error, which is going to make them sad. Even though the secondary origin is actually running fine, but we just haven't directed the traffic there. Whereas on the right side, the same situation happens. A 404 is found, but instead, this time CloudFront tries it against a secondary origin. Secondary origin is okay, so it sends a 200 okay message back, and then the user gets their content. All right, so let's go back to AWS here, and I want you to go instead now to this behaviors tab of your distribution. Now select the default behavior here, and we're just going to go and select edit. Now in the origin and origin groups section, we're going to click this drop down and we're going to select failover group, and this will switch CloudFront from using the single US East 1 origin to using the failover groups with both regions. In this viewer section here, let's use HTTPS only. This is going to force all traffic to use encrypted HTTPS connections and not HTTP by itself. We're going to set allowed HTTP methods to get, head, and options. And these are the HTTP methods that CloudFront will accept. Get fetches the content. Head checks if the content exists without actually downloading it. And then options checks which methods are allowed. So our app only needs these 3. Then we're going to scroll down to cache key and origin requests. Let's go set the cache policy to caching disabled. Caching means that CloudFront is going to store its responses and serves them without hitting our origin. So we're disabling it so that every request hits the origin group instead. That way we can test failover in real time. If caching was on, you'd keep seeing cached responses even after pausing the primary. We're going to leave the origin request policy to all viewer except host header. For this one here, headers are pieces of information that are sent with every request. So one header is called host, and this tells the server what domain we're actually requesting. And right now our host header would be our CloudFront domain, but App Runner expects to see its own domain. If it sees a CloudFront domain, it returns a 404 error. So this setting right here, all viewer except host header, it replaces the CloudFront domain with the App Runner domain before forwarding the request. We're going to set this to simple cause. These cause headers just let browsers make requests from different domains. domains, and this adds a standard cause header to the responses. We're going to scroll down and click Save Changes. And then again, this is going to take 2 to 5 minutes. CloudFront is going to deploy this to all of our edge locations, and you want to make sure that this says enable. So at this point, if you're deployed, you should be able to just copy this domain distribution name, open up a new tab and hit enter, and you should be seeing this hello from East 1. That means you've done things correctly. If you are seeing an 404 error or some errors in here, I'd recommend going to the project guide and testing out some of these solutions here, but hopefully we're all good. And the next thing we're going to do is test our failover, and we're going to do this by pausing our US East 1 or our primary service, and this is going to simulate a regional outage. We built an automatic failover, but does it actually work? This is the best way to test it. If things are working well, then it should automatically switch our traffic from US East 1 to US East 2. And this is exactly what engineers at somewhere like Twitch would do. You want to break things in a controlled environment so you can see how they would really handle in a actual outage. For us, pausing is the best way to do this because the service stops responding immediately, but our configuration stays the same. So we can resume it in a few seconds after we finish testing this. So let's go back to the console here. We're going to search up App Runner, click into that, and we want to make sure that we are on US East 1 here. So let's click into US East 1. So we're in multi-region app East and select actions here, and we're going to pause this. It'll take a little bit of time to do this. All right, so we can see that it is now paused. And if we go back to that URL of our CloudFront URL, so it should look something like this. We want to give CloudFront at least about 30 seconds to detect the failure. And this is because CloudFront is going to cache the health status. So we need to give it time to recognize the change. But hopefully when we refresh the page, it switches from US East 1 to US West 2. That means everything is working. Let's go. If you're still seeing US East 1, then just wait a few more seconds. Maybe you try refresh again, or go to an incognito window or clear your cache. So if we go to CloudFront here and then we click into our distributions, we can then select monitoring and we'll select this fail group origin group. And you should see errors from the primary origin here, which we can see right here. So automatic failover happened in seconds and there was no DNS propagation delays and no manual intervention required. Like we didn't have to do anything. Now what we did is great, but failover is only half the story, right? Because once that private region recovers, we want traffic to fail back automatically. CloudFront should prefer the primary when it's healthy. If failback doesn't work, we'll be stuck on the secondary server the entire time. Or we have to manually switch back, which defeats the whole purpose of automation. So let's go back to the console here, and we're going to navigate to the App Runner app again. Make sure we are in US East 1, and we're going to click on our app here, go into actions and resume. This is going to take a couple minutes. So here you can see that it's successfully resumed. So let's head back to our CloudFront URL just here. I'm going to wait 30 to 60 seconds again. We'll hit refresh, and as you can see, things change. And this means that our primary region is back up. CloudFront has automatically failed back to our primary origin. Now, of course, that's cool, but you may be wondering, how does CloudFront know to fall back to the primary origin? And the way that this happens is CloudFront learns from the actual traffic. Tries the primary, it sees that the primary isn't working, reroutes to the secondary. Okay, things are good. And then let's say some time passes and the primary actually recovers. There's more traffic, and CloudFront always tries the primary first because it prefers the primary, and it gets a successful 200 response. So then it knows to fail back to the primary origin. And the difference here is CloudFront doesn't send separate health check probes. It actually learns from actual responses while it serves real traffic. All right, so the last thing we're going to do now is actually a secret mission in the project, and we're essentially going to create CloudWatch alarms that email us when a failover happens. I mean, automatic failover is great, but imagine if you didn't know what happened. It's not like all the DAZN engineers are literally scouring Twitter to see if there's complaints on. They want to get instant alerts the moment things go wrong. Without alerting, you're essentially flying blind, right? We don't know what's actually going on. And we want to be able to not only get alerted, but understand what has happened and how we can fine tune this to not happen next time. So let's go back to the AWS console here, where again, we're going to go to CloudWatch this time and hit enter or select it. We're going to make sure we are in US East 1 here. CloudFront metrics are global, but alarms are actually regional. So on the left-hand side here, we want to click alarms and then go into all alarms. And let's create an alarm here. For select metric in the search bar, let's search up CloudFront here. And we want CloudFront per distribution metric. We need to find our distribution ID here. And if you don't know what that is, let's just duplicate this tab. We can go back to AWS here. Let's go into CloudFront, and this right here is our ID. So I know that mine ends with QB right here. So I know that it's going to be one of these ones here. And we want to select the one that says 4xx error rate. And this rate right here is just going to measure the percentage of requests that received a 4xx error response. So when CloudFront can't reach your primary origin, this metric is going to spike. And that's exactly what we want to alert on. So we can go select metric here. For statistic, let's leave it at average. And for period, let's change it from 5 minutes to 1 minute. Under conditions, we want to keep static selected for threshold. And then for this one here, whenever the 4xx error rate is greater than, let's do 50 here. This means an error rate of 50%. So whenever there is a 50% error rate or half of the requests to the origin are failing, this is high enough for us to avoid false positives and the occasional network blip, but also low enough to catch real outages really quickly. So we can go ahead and hit next. For the alarm state trigger, let's go in alarm. We want to create a new topic here, and let's call this topic name CloudFront-failover-alerts, and just enter in your email address here. So I'm going to do maximus@nextwork.org, and we want to create a topic. And if you're wondering what SNS topic actually is, SNS stands for Simple Notification Service, essentially AWS's messaging service. And I'd think of an SNS topic as essentially like a broadcast channel. So you can subscribe to multiple endpoints, so things like email or phone or numbers or Slack webhooks, Lambda functions even. And this means you can add more notification methods without necessarily modifying the alarm. For us though, we can just scroll down to the bottom here. We're going to click next. And for the alarm name, let's call this CloudFront Origin Failover Alert. For the description, we want to document what we're doing. We say something like alerts when CloudFront Origin error rate exceeds 50%, indicating a failover event. Nice. We can go ahead and click next. Everything is looking good, so we can create this right here. If you go to your email, you should get an email from AWS SNS. Just click confirm subscription there, and that means our subscription is now active. So we will receive alerts when alarm triggers. If you didn't receive that email, just check your spam folder. Now let's actually test this out. So let's go to App Runner, make sure we're in US East 1, and I click on this. I'm going to pause our app. Now let's see what happens here. It's going to take some time, obviously, but we want to do this in our test environment, not in our production environment, obviously. It is important to test these things out before production. You don't want to set something like this up and then never check if it actually works. So if I go to the CloudFront global URL now, after let's say 30 seconds, it should change to West2, exactly like this. Now, if that worked, you should have got an email like this. But if you aren't seeing this, then there's a couple things that you can try as well. If you go back to CloudWatch here, you click on all alarms and then you click the one we just created. You can head over to actions, click edit. And I would recommend changing the period down to, let's say 10 seconds. And we can even drop the threshold to, let's say anything more than 20%. Hit next, 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 and update the alarm. And now I would just rerun the same thing. So go to your CloudWatch page here, and I would just be spamming refresh. Just spam refresh on your page, and you'll start to see the alarms pop through. And that wraps up today's project. Remember, this is project 2 out of 3 for this series, so there's one coming. And as you're doing the project in this project guide, make sure you fill in these questions, add in screenshots, because you'll get documentation like this that you can share to LinkedIn, GitHub, or any other platform. Make sure you are documenting your work. If you want this entire project guide, head to learn.nextwork.org. This is project number 2 in the 3-part series on this multi-region deployment. As always, like and subscribe, do your thing, and I hope you have an amazing day.